All right, guys, today we're going to take a look at this little guy, or should I say a relook. This is the version 2 plus of the Magnum lock. They kept the same name, they kept the same symbol, and of course the same style on the flag, on the key we'll look at in just a moment. But this one is quite a bit heavier duty. It doesn't have that cheap chrome finish that the version 1 had. It's quite hefty. And this one is also made by a company called Security Tech instead of the original Millenco. So perhaps they bought them out. Instead of being made in China, this one looks like it's made, or they want us to believe it's made in Switzerland. And to convince us of the authenticity of that, they put the Swiss flag right there. So I don't know if that makes you believe it any more than me, but I kind of halfway believe it. Because this one also has the kite mark, much coveted, so that shows it at least has some resistance to both physical attack and resistance to lockpicking. As I said, the finish on this one is a lot nicer than the original. The other one was actually flaking chrome off of what I thought was like pot metal. This one has a anti-snap, just as the original did, and that's a big plus for me because all I got to do is take one of those screws out, pop it off, and I can avoid adding to my long list of gutting disasters. So anyway, let's take a look at the key before we take a relook at that lock. I don't know if you guys remember the original video, but if you take a look at these, you notice how they're kind of zigzag back and forth. So that's a big clue that something's not normal about this lock. And in fact, if you look at it from the front, if I can get it to cooperate here, you'll notice that these are drilled at a slight angle. So the three dimples that are on this side are drilled at an angle about like that. And the three dimples that are picked on this side are drilled at an angle about like that. So it kind of makes you wonder how that happened inside of that core. We'll take a look in a moment. And then, of course, we have the slider here. And if you count along here, there should be 5 sliders, but there are only 4. So they retained that part of the original Millenco design. Same style key and everything, except instead of saying Millenco, now it says Magnum. And then down here, I think you can just make it out, it just says Superior. And it's the same on both sides. All right, let's take a look at the lock now. On both sides of this, on the side with the kite mark, or the side with the kite mark, if you look at the top, you really can't see anything through this. It is a hard chrome or sandblasted finish. I think you can make out one pin, I think here, just barely, and you can barely make out the outline of one here. The rest of them are totally obscured by this hard chrome coating. The other side with a Magnum on it, though, you can see just a little bit better. And you can see that we have a pin here, here, and here. So that would be the side with the 3. And then over here you can see one there. You can make out the outline of one there, and I think one right there. So what they've done is they've actually drilled from the top at an angle and gone in just like that to get the 3 on that side. And then they went in an angle from the top at just like that, alternating, to get the pins on that side, the 4 over there. So it's almost like a V7 engine alternating back and forth. So we've got to deal with the 7 dimple pins, which are kind of located in the middle, but of course angled. So we'll have to pick from 2 sides. And again, unlike the original Millenco version, which had the slider off on the right side, this one has it right above the pin, so it really makes it a lot tighter. I don't know if you can quite see it up in there, but they're spring-loaded and held off to the left side. So I don't really know if we have to pick those first or we have to pick the dimple pins first. We're going to find out when I get it clamped up and put some tension on it. You'll also notice this one, see the little groove right here. And that should tell you that there's a sidebar inside of here. So that's the groove the sidebar fits into, and those sliders hold it in place. And the only way we're going to be able to get that picked is to get the sliders properly aligned so the sidebar can retract out of that groove and then allow the core to rotate. The nice thing about this design is that with tension, we actually will get some feedback from those sliders. Unlike a lot of these slider locks, this is one of the few that will give us feedback. We put a lot of torque on here. We can lock them down, pry them against the side against that spring tension, and then we can find the binder and hopefully pick that sidebar and get this thing open. So let me go ahead and clamp this thing up. And oh, it does work perfectly. It is a new lock. Works beautifully, and I'll disassemble it provided I can get the darn thing open. So let's hop to it. I'll be right back. All right, that ought to hold it. I've already got a line drawn on there, and I've chosen the tensioner. I'm going to slide him in here on the edge because I've got to pick from both sides. I'm going to start out with, if I can find him here, with this little flag. This is the double ender from the Sauber kit. I'm going to pick the 4 pins on the left from this top corner, and then the 3 on the right I can actually pick from this corner by wedging it against that piece of boarding right there. So let's see what we got here. Moderate tension, and let's see if we can find a binder. Okay, that was the 4th pin on the left. There's like the 2nd one on the left. Got to click on him. That was the 1st one on the left. And I think we got him. Let's try the other side. Okay, got a little fault set going. And pick a stuck. Pick a stuck again, right there in the back on that last pin. Give me counter rotation. I think we got him. Got a little click. Okay, that was the 1st one. A little bit of counter rotation on him too. Let's go back and check the left side. All right, I think we got him. We do have a fault set here. It might be enough. We may just be hanging up on those sliders. This is a broken 15 thousandths pick. The tip broke off, so I made a little probe out of it. I'm going to actually lighten up on the tension and then just slide him on the left side and push those sliders away from the side and then apply a little bit of tension to hold them there. Now what I'm going to do is take the probe and just slide them in there and just kind of randomly move them back and forth. I'm not going to use heavy tension yet. I'm ready to do that. I got another pick out, but let's try this finesse way first. See if we can finesse them in place. And this is purely random. No skill involved in this part. We're basically raking sliders. Okay, that's not going to work. So doesn't work very often, but I had to try it. I'm pushing them away again. Now I'm going to take my other pick. This is a 25 thousandth. This is from Sparrows, and it's the one with the least amount of hook. I'm going to slide him in and just check and see if I get some counter rotation. I have pretty good tension on here now. Just trying to get him behind those guys. And there we go. Come out of there. I think we might have raked 1 or 2 of them, and then I just pushed the remaining 2 off to the side. And there we go. We got to open. Come on, get out of the way. I'm trying to work here. All right, let's go ahead and gut this thing. I think we are zoomed all the way out. It is the side that says Magnum on it. So let's go ahead and gut this side and see what we got. All right, I will use this guy. Move all that stuff out of the way. And we lock him back up. Maybe not, because the pins on the bottom have popped into the keyway. So let's just push them down and rotate it, lock it back. There we go. All right, I will need a flat tip. I happen to have one of those. Make sure I got the right end. All right, I was afraid of that. It looks like this little clip right here is probably clipped onto a cut inside of the anti-snap. It extends up into there. So let me move this out of here so I don't poke a hole into my pinning tray. I'm going to take a probe. Could use a screwdriver, but I'm just trying to move that clip. All right, maybe not from that side. Let's try them over here. He does not want to come out of there. I'm almost positive that's what we need to do. All right, there we go. Now he's coming out of there. So I'll just pop him all the way out. I wonder why he was so hard. There's no indentations on it to grip, so I have no idea. All right, let's move the pinning tray back. And slide him off of there. This is the side we did not pick, and this is the side we did pick. So let's... No end of roadblocks here. Okay, let's find that probe again. Maybe we can... Yeah, look at there. All right, we do need this. All right, now let's think about this for a minute. Get the cat hair out of there. We know that on the top there will be a sidebar, and we know on the bottom will be pins. So if I rotate him like this, the pins will be here and the sidebar will be here. So let's hold it like that. I'm going to put my finger underneath to hold the sidebar. And let's just double check here. And that's what we got. Why did you do that, Bill? Because I got so excited about holding that sidebar, that's why. All right, well, there are our 7 pins. Let's go ahead and dump those. Crap. It's a good thing I put that warning up, huh? Okay, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. All right, nothing unusual about that. Here's our anti-drill. Let me get a tweezer in here. Pull the anti-drill plate out before he falls out. Cool. Okay, rotate him over, and now we can see here are our sliders. And they're being held in by that sidebar. When I let go of the sidebar, he should pop up a little bit. And there he is. No teeth on this guy, so it's not like an Asa, thank goodness. Let's just set him right there. And there should be 2 tiny little springs that are invisible to the human eye, almost hair-like. If I can get some focus working here. There he is. And there's the other one. All right, sliders. Let me take the key out because the key is now holding those sliders in place. I'm going to hold my finger. I don't know if those guys are spring-loaded. I doubt it, but why take a chance? I don't want to screw up any more than I already have. All right, let's uncover that first one. All right, so there we go. They appear to be spring-loaded. Yep. All right, let's pull this first guy out. Maybe. All right, there's the first one. And I'm going to put him right here. Number 2, nice and squared off. Number 3. And the last one. You know I had to drop one, right? There we go. Nice and squared off. And we have some springs down inside there. I'm not going to pull those out of there. They don't really do anything for security. All right, I have already screwed this up. All right, here's an anti-drill pin. It went in the very front. Tiny little springs. Also hair-like. And should be 3 more. There's 2 of them. And there's the other one. All right, now comes the fun part, trying to figure out where all these pins went. Okay, this one is standard, so it doesn't matter where he went. Stick him right there. Here's another standard one, so randomly put him there. Here's another standard. This may work out in my favor. Another standard. There's one that's not going to work out in my favor. Nice little reduced, almost T-pin-like. I'm going to randomly put him there. I really don't have a clue. He's a little larger diameter. Let's take a look. Here's a standard. So there's only 2 security pins. This fat guy and this one here, a double spool, actually a barrel. So let's take a look here. Why in the world would we have a larger diameter? Because he's definitely slightly larger diameter than the rest of them. And he will fit into any of them. As opposed to these guys, these are reduced diameter. They'll fall into any of them. I don't know, guys. I screwed up. I got so excited about getting it picked that I just slid that core right out of there. But anyway, here's what you're looking at. There's only 2 security pins in the whole thing. I'd have to look back and see which ones were giving me counter rotation. And that would be him. And the rest of them are all standards. You notice that these are reduced diameter, but that doesn't come into picking. That just keeps them from falling all the way through the chamber. So when you drop him in there, he doesn't slide all the way through. That's all that ledge on the key pins is for. Anyway, guys, I'm glad to get it open. Sorry I just yanked it out there in my excitement, but there you go. The Magnum from Security Tech. Appreciate your time. Stay safe. Stay legal. Hold on, before you leave, click that subscribe button. And while you're there, click that notification bell as well. If you'd like to be a sponsor, click there, and for $5 a month, you get all kinds of benefits. If that's not enough free stuff, hit the Lock Lab. We've got a self-paced lockpicking course with over a dozen modules at the bottom of the page. Join the tribe. Subscribe.